I've been a tech recruiter since I started. New client acquisition is much harder. We used to be able to rely on outreach, sequencing campaigns, just firing off NPC campaigns or even using ghost NPCs, and just all those tactics don't really work anymore. It's referral driven, relationship driven, and niche driven. I'm really enjoying AI. I'm teamed up with Gemini. I talk to it every day. I'm a Recruiterflow customer. I love Recruiterflow. I almost left you guys once for a top echelon product, and I even requested the data and everything. I was like, send me all the data, I'm leaving. But the more I went through their free trial and started actually comparing features, there were 5 key things. I was like, oh, I use this too much. I can't go without this automation. Think about how much time I'll be wasting if I have to do this manually. So I was like, you know what, cancel that. It was they had already sent me all my data, and I was like, you know what, I don't need this anymore. I'm staying with you guys. So I really love Recruiterflow. I gotta hand it to you guys because you are constantly coming out with new stuff, and I know that's not easy to do, or how you made someone feel. Just don't be transactional.
My first question to you is, how did you come into this recruitment world? If you were not a recruiter, what would you be? What were your childhood dreams and everything, your journey into this recruitment world?
Well, I really wanted to be a NASCAR driver, but that didn't work out. So after college, my roommates, they were all in staffing. And I kind of avoided that. I was like, no, I don't get that. I don't know what that is. So I followed in my father's footsteps in the insurance industry. And I kind of suffered through that for 3 years before I realized I really don't like this. This isn't what I want to do. And then I hit the escape button on my whole life. I went to Hawaii. I was a waiter on a cruise ship for Norwegian Cruise Lines. I did that for a year. And then I came home and, got back in touch with all my friends, and they were crushing it in staffing. I was like, I got to get into this. This could be what I need to do. So I pursued that hard. It took me forever to get into it, though. I probably interviewed with 9 staffing companies and got turned down. Even for the ones that they referred me into, I couldn't get hired. I was awful at interviewing and the whole thing. But finally, I got referred into a corporate recruiting job through a friend of mine at Zip Realty, and it was just an hourly recruiting job. Did that for a year, and then I landed my first agency job, and the rest is history.
So from agency to your, now you have your own business. How this transition happened?
Well, I was at Etain Group for 8.5 years, and then I left there and spent 3 years at JobBot until the market the tech market kind of crashed. There was some changes at the company. And then I went and started my own gig last year in July, started Hyperdrive Recruiting. Just been running kind of a solo agency from my house ever since. And I always wanted to do it right. I thought for the longest time, why don't I just go out on my own? Why am I giving away 60% of the commission? There's some nice perks. Don't get me wrong. JobBot was out of this world. That there'll never be another period in the history of staffing where you're treated like that at a staffing company. I'm blessed to have been a part of that ride. But yeah, I always wanted to start my own agency. Ideally wanted to wait until my kids were all old enough to be in public school, so there's no daycare expenses and all that good stuff. But there's never the best timing. No better timing than now. So went ahead and started that. Even if I only get half the number of deals, I'll still make the same amount of money because I'm getting 100%, right? So that was the thought process to start in Hyperdrive.
And how did you choose your niche?
Well, I've been a tech recruiter since I started at Etain Group, but my niche has kind of changed because, software engineering roles are down 70%. So, the demand, there's a lot of layoffs in tech. The demand is lower. So I found a better niche for placing sales, marketing, and advertising talent. I think it's a little easier there because those roles are more directly tied to ROI at a company, right? They generate revenue. So now we've pivoted, we place revenue generating talent.
So it's across all the industries, or you are or you are super niched in that too?
Yeah, it's still within tech, right? So SaaS companies, technology companies, hardware companies. My heart is in tech. I have not been able to pivot to construction or manufacturing or legal or finance and accounting. Those roles just bore me to death. Like I've tried to go through the motions during periods of time in my career where I'm like, yeah, well, why don't I help so and so over here? He's got a construction manager job, and it just fell flat. Like, so, my conversations were kind of stale. I'm just not interested in it. Right. It's not my thing. I love technology. So I guess, maybe I'll go down with the ship. I don't know. But that's what I love. That's what I'm passionate about. So that's the companies that I support.
What was your success mantra? Like, what success means to you?
Yeah, so that's changed over the years. It used to be all like, what does my bank account look like? What's my paycheck look like? How many placements? Where do I sit on the leaderboard, right? Am I number 1? If I'm not number 1, I'm upset. I'm angry about it. I got to do something about that. But I've kind of settled into a more mild approach now where it's more about my mental health. How am I impacting the people around me? And how am I being a positive influence on people? How am I helping? Right. So I'm not like getting up at 5 a.m. anymore to start my day and start sending out campaigns and all this good stuff like I used to do. It's just a more like sustainable approach to this career because I don't ever really want to retire. I just want to like work at a pace that I can work at basically forever. I'm just looking for like that. People throw around the term work life balance, right? I mean, I got all the work life balance I want right now, right? I got the best boss in the world. He doesn't ask me to do anything, but I'm my own worst critic. So I know that I got to shape up and get to work and focus and all that good stuff. And I don't get me wrong, I still work a lot, right? I work on, some Saturdays. Maybe I'll find an hour or two to hop on the computer and do some stuff. But yeah, it's just more like trying to balance my family life. I got 3 kids and just other stuff that I'm interested in. As long as I'm making enough money to provide for my family, which, at the end of the day, I mean, it's still a lot of money, but it's not like I don't need to make 500K anymore. I just
Absolutely.
I don't know what to do with all that money. I'm not like I've already bought all the toys I want to buy. I got a nice house. I got, fancy golf cart, a Harley. I got so many computers, so much technology, so much stuff. I don't feel like I need any more stuff, right? Just want to run a sustainable, high quality staffing business, do right by people. Every day I'm just trying to find someone who I can actually help and see if I can place them in a job. I just keep it simple, just trying to help somebody, every day.
Great. So it's like a transition from a high school to a more mature family man for you.
Yeah, I used to be not somebody that came to work to make friends, right? When I was at E-Tain, I made the mistake of I was really just there to make money. I didn't care what anybody thought. I was just numbers driven, right? I was vicious. There was like ownership rules for candidates. I would take advantage of those. I didn't care, right? It's all about me. And kind of grew past that, right? Now looking back, I should have developed a little bit deeper relationships with some of the colleagues that I had. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't like 100% asshole, right? I mean, I was like, I would try to still help people and bring them up if I saw that they were like really wanting to do good. But, there's like this hierarchy or this performance. I don't know what it's called, right? You have to ask Jordan Peterson about the lobsters and all that. But, if I felt like you were kind of just a mild performer, right? Just trying to get by, like I had no respect for you. That's just not a good approach. So yeah, now just trying to, think what would Jesus do? Try to treat everybody the same, right? Everybody's got their own challenges in life and you got enough pressure as it is. You don't have to be an asshole, right? There's just no point. We're all gonna die one day, you know?
How has recruitment changed in like these years?
Well, it's gotten harder, since it kind of took a dive in 2023. So, yeah, it's harder. Like new client acquisition is much harder. We used to be able to rely on outreach sequencing campaigns, just firing off NPC campaigns or even using, ghost NPCs and just All those tactics don't really work anymore. It's more referral driven, relationship driven, niche driven. So, yeah, and I'm still trying to find that secret sauce, right? I'm filling enough jobs to kind of keep me busy, but I'm nowhere
Mhm.
close to like hiring someone or growing the business beyond just making enough money to keep me and my family provided for. So I'm kind of waiting for that shift, right? So we still haven't hit bottom in this job market. I create a lot of content on LinkedIn, and it's not necessarily a magnet for new clients to reach out and with job orders. That used to be the case, right? Every time I posted something, somebody'd reach out. Oh, yeah, I remember. I actually need your help on this job order, and I was like, wow, this is a secret sauce right here. I just need to post on LinkedIn. But now it's just really become a magnet for more job seekers, right? More people that were just laid off. It weighs
Yeah.
heavy on my heart, right? I got to really check my mindset sometimes, like pray every morning, basically. But it's changed a lot. And then with the flood of candidates on the market, companies are emboldened to fill every job themselves because they can just post a job and get 1,000 applicants. So they're more resistant to pay a recruiter fee. So just finding new clients is really tough thing. At the end of the day, my niche, revenue generating talent, sales and marketing, but deep down, I'll take a lot of different skill sets, right? You got a job? Is it urgent? Are you serious about hiring? Like, is this a good job order? Like, is it in Timbuktu with low pay and 5 days a week on site? Or is this fillable, right? If it's fillable, yeah, I'll work on it. I don't care what it is.
What are the top three KPIs which you track religiously?
It's a point system, basically. You don't have to track a million things, right? How many phone calls, how many networking events did you attend? How many new business meetings did you have? It's really simple. You're just tracking submissions, interviews, and signed agreements. If you submit a candidate to a hiring manager, 2 points. If you book an interview, that's 3 points. If you get a signed agreement, that's 5 points. And you at least want to get 20 points a week. Starting out, when I shifted that approach, it was like, God, 20 points. Like, but then I got to the point where I was just a submachine gun. I mean, I'm getting 30 to 50 points a week. So that has helped me out a lot, just simplifying it to those three things, right? Submissions, interviews, signed agreements. That's all I care about.
How do you think like automations and AI have changed like recruitment? There's a lot of noise around that AI will replace recruiters. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it will. It will. I suspect there'll be about half the recruiters on Earth, than there were a couple years ago. So I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting to see kind of where this thing goes. But I'm really enjoying AI. I'm teamed up with Gemini. I talk to it every day. I'm a Recruiterflow customer. I love Recruiterflow. Almost left you guys once for a top echelon product, and I even like requested the data and everything. I was like, send me all the data. I'm leaving. But the more like I went through their free trial and started actually comparing features, there were like 5 key things. I was like, I use this too much. I can't go without this automation. Think about how much time I'll be wasting if I have to do this manually. So I was like, you know what? Cancel that. They had already sent me all my data. And I was like, you know what? I don't need this anymore. I'm staying with you guys. So I really love Recruiterflow and I recommend it to people. Another sourcing tool that I've just recently adopted is Juicebox, People GPT. You guys should submit an offer to buy them tomorrow because it's pretty slick. I'll be honest with you. It's a kick-ass tool. If you go searching for something and then you click on their autopilot feature and it ranks everybody and it's got like check boxes for everything they do and don't have based on like your top 3 to 5 requirements, and you can it's a sexy tool. I got to hand it to them. I really like Arya in Recruiter Flow, chatting with it about the candidate and having it generate a quick candidate summary for me that I can just cut and paste in my submission email. I do have some suggestions, right? Take the candidate name out, put it in bullet point format. I always have to like say at the end, like, okay, now take the candidate name out, put it in bullet point format. But
Maybe by next quarter, there will be so many new features around. Obviously, they'll be part of IRA, but They'll be like separate AI agents. So that would be interesting to watch on.
I gotta hand it to you guys because you are constantly coming out with new stuff. I know that's not easy to do, right? You gotta have a massive staff. Maybe it is a little easier now because you can hop into Replit or Lovable or something like that, or Cursor, and kind of vibe code some new features into existence. But I
We have
know.
like 50% of our team is engineering.
Oh, okay, got it.
40% is sales, marketing, and other. 60% engineering means like they are doing the most of the heavy lifting by their own. So that's the reason we are like able to generate features. We are able to take customer requests. They're doing a fabulous job, I must say.
Yeah, you guys are great. I'm a fan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So if you have to give suggestion to people who are entering the recruitment work, what would be those suggestions?
If you are just getting into recruiting, I would try to make an impact with every interaction that you have with people, and don't be transactional. Always look at like every interaction as for potential things that could happen, right? You could place them in a job. They might give you a job order one day. They might have a referral for you, or, they might need you for like some type of resume advice or interview advice or something like that. Just take a very long-term approach to every interaction that you have with another person, as opposed to, what normally happens is if you have a call with a candidate or meet somebody at an event or whatever, if they don't have what you need at that very moment, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I guess it's not a fit. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later then, right? Just go that extra step and be like, okay, well, what if I run into this person in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? How are they going to remember me? That's what I would advise anybody new to the industry, because it's so important. The relationship is so important. How you made someone feel. Just don't be transactional.
Absolutely. In recruitment, being transactional doesn't work. It's more about empathy. It's more about how you can help that person. I think that human connection is very necessary in this AI era, I must say,
It
because
is.
it is more about those human connections because AI can do the heavy lifting. AI can do the manual, like automate the manual task, but AI can never replace that human empathy.
Yeah, I feel like AI is going to really have an impact on companies that are posting jobs and getting 1,000, 2,000 applicants, right? They're just going to be like, all right, we just got to let AI do this, right? And AI can go in and assess the resume and see, okay, 80% score, invite them to an interview. Less than 80%, all right, let's send them an email that just automatically rejects them, and just give them like 2 bullet points as to why. Hey, you were missing this, or hey, we're really looking for this industry, but thanks, and keep an eye on our job site. And then they can even use it to do the first screen. Some of these AI voice technologies are like
I
Sesame. Oh my God, that one is crazy.
Before your call, I was talking to one company. I am not remembering the name right now, but they have like a pretty sexy AI agent who takes the first round of interview and gives candidate a score. And then from that, like workflow is exactly what you said, that client can set a certain score that, okay, 50 and above are like, we'll go for the second round and 50 below will be auto, like they'll get an auto rejection email sort of thing. So I think this is like, obviously it
Oh,
will
it's
help
gonna
a lot.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there'll be a place though for the more senior level passive job seekers. They really want to deal with a human, right? They don't want to interview with a bot. They're not even really actively looking like, okay, I'm not going to waste my time with this. So if companies want to attract the top performers at companies who are happily employed and convince them to actually leave for a better opportunity, that's going to take a person. And I don't think we're ever going to be able to, prompt engineer a bot to do that. I just don't.
Absolutely. And that's what, like, that's where like recruiters should feel safe. AI will help them, but for low level jobs, AI will definitely replace recruiters. But for mid level and high level, C suite and everything, obviously, we'll need human recruiters. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I agree. No doubt.
Apart from this, see, I have covered my questions, but if you have anything interesting to tell, or if you think that's something which I haven't covered that will help me to craft a better story, you can tell me that.
So one of the questions that you had was about what do you do to stay current on all the latest recruiting stuff. And I'm like a YouTube junkie, so I'm always watching something on YouTube, and something about AI or something about recruitment, or and a lot of the other ATS vendors have channels, and I'll tune into their podcast too. I love Ben Mena's podcast, The Elite Recruiter. I think his name's Mark Whitley. I like his podcast as well. But that's just stuff that you gotta watch. Another LinkedIn influencer that I really like to follow. She's like the top echelon of like career coaching and job seeker advice is JT O'Donnell. I think she's got 2 million followers on LinkedIn, but she puts out some of the best stuff I've ever seen. The advice she gives, if you're a job seeker, I would definitely follow JT O'Donnell. Trying to get her on the podcast. JT, if you're listening, you're invited to Hyperdrive Minds podcast. Another channel I like is Appcast. Appcast is a job distribution technology company, and they have some incredible data about what's happening in the job market. I'm a member of NC Tech. So NC Tech is an organization in North Carolina that is a networking community for technology companies that are specific to North Carolina. So follow their publications as well. I'm a member of the Top Echelon Network, which I really recommend anybody, especially if you're running a small agency, because Top Echelon is a network of other agencies, and they have several hundred, and they facilitate split deals, right? You can share candidates, you can share job orders. During some of the times when your desk is a little bit light, you can kind of augment that with job orders from some of your colleagues across the country in the network. They only take a small fee for that, so I think the value is there. And some newsletters that I recommend is Recruiter Brain Food. It's a good one. The Full Stack Recruiter. It's also a good one. I enjoy watching the guys over at Chad and Cheese podcast. You would never realize that's about
Wow.
HR and recruiting because of the name. It's not about cheese, and it gets a little spicy over there. They've got political opinions and everything. I even had Chad on my podcast one time, and we had a real spicy debate over some stuff. But I still really enjoy their podcasts and keeps me up to date.
I would like to know more about your podcast. Like, how did you ended up starting your podcast, and like, was it for branding purpose or it helped you to generate leads or anything? What was the purpose of starting this podcast?
Well, I'm a consumer of so many podcasts. I was just like, man, why don't I do this? But at first, the idea was to start a really niche podcast that would try to drive some engagement from the cybersecurity community, something that a CISO would watch or cybersecurity architects would want to watch. And it was called the Imperial Security Bureau podcast. And so it was all about that for like 18 episodes. It wasn't generating leads. It just wasn't. Like, no job orders came from it. So I was like, okay, this isn't working, right? I've been doing this for a while now, 18 episodes. I learned a lot, met some cool people, but no job orders from it. So I'm like, all right, well, I need to broaden this out a little bit. So I started bringing on folks that were in recruiting and talent acquisition, and I called that like the HR approved podcast. I just wasn't feeling that either. So now it's more generic to any like really talented person that I might come across in my career as a headhunter, because you come across all kinds of people that are just like, wow, this person's super well spoken. Like, they've already educated me on like 10 things since we've been talking. They're free with their information. They're not like gatekeeping anything. They seem to like really want to talk about stuff. So I use those opportunities to invite them on the podcast now. And it's just fun. It's fun for me. I'm not really doing it anymore for like niche lead generation or anything. I just enjoy it. There is a benefit because you can put little clips on LinkedIn, whatever topic it is, right? You just feed your video into Opus Clip and tinker around a little bit, and you got these reels that you can post, and it just helps. Like, if you don't have content one day to post on LinkedIn, well, let me pull a clip from a podcast and throw that up there, see what happens, right? So, because recruiters are always looking for that top of mind content you can throw up. So it does help with that. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, it is a lot of work. Most people give up. The number's like 90% of podcasts just fold out. And most of them don't even make it to like 8 episodes or something like that. But I don't want to make a living doing a podcast. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just really enjoy it. I mean, if I can put out one episode a month, I'm happy. And if there's 2 months, whatever. I go a month without doing one, who cares? It's my podcast. I can do what I want. All right. If it's 2 months, I hadn't done a podcast, I'm like, all right, let me find somebody to invite real quick. Let's keep this thing alive.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. Like I love the concept. I loved like talking to you on a personal level, understanding things. It was great. Anything else?
One other thing I wrote down was about the tech stack, and we talked a little bit about that. Whenever I was thinking about my tech stack, it got really insane with like the number of things that I have because I've got, my Chrome browser is full of just tabs. I mean, it's tabs, and then you open the tab, and there's a million things in there. So it's Gemini for research, content, Recruiterflow for my ATS, Juicebox for sourcing. Also use a lot of LinkedIn. I've got like I don't know how many 20,000 connections or something. I use Apollo for sequencing campaigns, and it also has a meeting recorder function, so I don't have to take notes. But what I found is that I'm less reliant on that. I don't mind taking notes. My notes aren't like anything. It's not a book. I just write the important stuff, and it's not really hard to do. So you know,
Recruiterflow has also come up with AI note taker now, so you can use that now.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Maybe I can abandon Apollo. I know they just got kicked off of LinkedIn. Like their account just got wiped, right? They're
Yeah.
breaking some
It
rules.
was a
So
massive hit for them. Massive, massive hit.
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I really like their tool, but yeah, they're doing some shady stuff behind the scenes and breaking the rules. Then yeah, if Recruiterflow can do the meetings, and then if Juicebox can, find the contact information and do the sequencing, then I may be able to abandon Apollo at my renewal. I mean, they will not let you downgrade, and they will not let you cancel. You can't even downgrade if you accidentally upgrade and email them and you're like, hey, actually, I upgraded for this one feature that I found out I can't use because I don't have, Google Workspace. Can I just downgrade? I'm sorry, we don't do that. It's like assholes, man. But yeah, I use Sales Nav, I use Canva, CapCut, Riverside for the podcast hosting, Leonardo AI for image generation. Their flow state tool is really cool. If you ask Gemini for an image, it just gives you one. And if you ask it to edit the image, then it won't do what you say. It's awful.
Yeah.
But Leonardo, if you type in a simple prompt, it'll give you like 30 options.
Oh,
And you just
wow.
scroll through them and you'd be like, "Oh, I like this one. Give me more like this one." And then it'll give you more like that. And then you can, maybe you don't know what you want, but it will keep feeding you just tons of options where you're like, okay, this is the one. So really recommend that for image generation. Making videos on my phone, I use InShot to edit
I use that.
videos. Yeah, I love InShot. It's super easy. I use Wave for like the accounting and like invoicing. You can book me to book meetings, like send people a calendar booking link and they book through there. And then through the HR approved website, people can like pay, they can pay through Stripe. GoDaddy for the website. So I use something that I don't know what kind of value it adds, but it's pretty neat to look at my own signature and be like, wow, this thing's like interactive. Like the logo comes to life, and stuff is happening in my email signature, but it's called custom e-signature. And I'm partnered up with Boss. So that's short for back office staffing solutions. So they take care, if you are going to place a contractor, they just take care of all that stuff, right? You don't have to do the payroll, you don't have to be the employer of record, you don't have to carry the insurance, you don't have to do anything. They just, you fill out their forms or whatever. Hey, so and so starting, and they do the timesheet approval and the whole 9 yards. It's really for someone who's used to doing contract staffing and the agency always taking 20% for a burden that would come off of your commission. I mean, you can sign up with Boss and they just take like 25%. So you get like or it's like 23% actually. So they're just taking like a few percentage points more than what you're used to already paying, and they do everything. So if you're in recruiting and you're like only doing perm and no contract staffing, especially if you're like turning down contract job orders, just stop right now and go sign up with Boss. you're just leaving tons of money on the table. Why not go ahead and place those people, let boss handle it, and then they send you the check?
Yeah, that's great. That's like extra money, obviously. I was glad talking to you.